Poetry. All right, this next one, I'm just gonna say some words and then I'll get into it. This one's poetry. So I'm just gonna say something very vulnerable, very real, very valid about my feelings. Everyone's just gonna have to be okay with that. I hate poetry. Hate's a strong word. I don't hate it. I don't love poetry. I don't like writing it. I sometimes enjoy hearing it. Like it's not like it's never something that I actively seek out for enjoyment, if that makes sense. Every time I listen to poetry or like somebody like reads poetry, I feel like that classic like thing where it's like, oh, the curtains are blue because they represent the Great Depression and like how the character's feeling and all that. No, the curtains are blue because they're blue. That's where I'm at. I'm just the curtains are blue. Like I don't care about how to describe things in different ways. I don't care about iambic pentameter or whatever the hell that is. I don't really love poetry. So I hear yourself asking, why the hell are you doing poetry in this project? Well, it's because I'm not a coward, for one thing. And for another thing, I wanted to push myself. I wanted to try something that I hadn't really ever tried before. So, poetry. This one was difficult for me because, as I've stated, not a fan of writing it. But that is what I think I'm going to take with me most of all, because it's in this line of work, I'm not going to always be able to do everything that I want to do. In fact, I'm going to be forced to do some things I don't want to do, write some things I don't feel like writing. But I'm going to have to do it anyway because somebody needs to eat, and you can only eat if you put in the work. So I made poetry. Now, granted, I did cheat a little bit. I don't know about cheating, but I basically made a parody of "'Twas the Night Before Christmas," talking about a situation I ran into when I used to work at a movie theater in high school. And it was difficult. It was difficult to try and figure out how to put all the words right to make the story make sense, to fit with the theme, to fit with everything, to describe it in a way, and then on top of all of that, to make it funny. It was hard. It was not easy. However, it did something that I'm not so proud to admit. It made me like poetry a little bit. Just a little bit. I like it a little bit now, okay? It's not that bad. It's all right. It's kind of fun. It's got, now that I like see what it's all about, yeah, I get it now. I get it more. So, when I wrote this, I was lucky enough to be able to perform this at a poetry open mic. I forgot the name of it, so I'm going to just do a little audio thing. So thank you to That's Poetic Open Mic for letting me perform there. Yeah, and it was a completely new experience for me. It was something I've never done an open mic before, let alone a poetry open mic. So I was definitely nervous because there were all these professionals and people who have spent all this time on their things. And not that I didn't spend time on mine, but it was clear that I was the one going up there and saying jokes. So everyone was like, oh, this is my poetry of how this is the worst day of my life or something like that. So it was a whole new experience, but I'm so happy I did it because it made me like poetry a little more. And it was a lot of fun. It was a really interesting community that was there as well. So let's get into it. Here's my poem. It's called "'Twas the Night Before Fast 9." Here we go. Can I get a quick show of hands? Has anyone here ever worked in a movie theater before? All right, cool. Well, I did, and this is about an experience I had working in the movie theater. 'Twas the night before Fast 9, when all through the theater, messes I was cleaning with my boss and my sweeper. The popcorn was swept by the workers with care, but little did they know, assault had plagued the air.
The two talked of leaving and getting snug in their beds, but as they left the theater, approached a man who saw red. "Who is the manager?" he said in a rage. "I am," said Naomi, my boss and my sage. "I've called the police as there was such a clatter. Some men hit my girlfriend and now she's battered. Away to the victim, I flew with confusion, armed with an ice pack to help with her bruising. The lights on the mess of the newly trashed lobby made me muster some anger for my low-paying jobby. When what to my wondering eyes did appear but a lonesome jar of pickles that was empty and clear. Intrigued and bewildered, I grabbed it with might, exclaiming, this was the weirdest occurrence at AMC tonight. I walked through the rubble of popcorn and trash back to Naomi, who was starting to crash. I have no words for what's happened tonight, she told me it greeted her. And to her I said, who the fuck brought a pickle jar to this AMC theater? Just as we said that, the police they had came. To let them inside was a task for me, James. Though I don't talk to pigs who are dirty and muddy, when I let this one in, he said, oh, hey, thanks, buddy. To the victim they went on the ground near the wall. Now go away, James, go down the hall. As I cleaned the next theater with my new jar, I felt cocky, when all of a sudden, I got a call from Naomi on my walkie. Do you still have the pickle jar and also its cover? And unfortunately, I said, yes, I do. Over. And then with a twinkling, her voice sounded tense. The cops need to take it. It's now evidence. I sighed and approached them while taking no pleasure, because I then had to give them my cylindrical treasure. I later had learned the events of what had happened, the bad guys of which being two men that were yapping. Through all of Fast 9, they shouted and hollered when that poor girl stood up and spoke like a scholar. Be quiet, I want to watch Luda and Dom Toretto. Those were the words that she'd come to regretto. These two men had found themselves in a bit of a pickle. While leaving the theater, they clobbered the girl with the jar of pickles. As she fell to the ground, her mans got up to defend, choking the assailants that hit his girlfriend. He was punched in the face when his friend on the side said, I'm calling the cops, which had altered the tide. We gotta get out of here, said one of the bad guys abhorrent. You can't get caught, you know you have a warrant. We'll be waiting outside in our car with our guns. If we see you, we'll shoot you. It's useless to run. They spoke not a word, but they left there for good, leaving the Rosedale Mall for another neighborhood. This is when we had emerged from Theater 4, ready to leave AMC, to go home and to snore. The night scarred me much, the mess, the cops, and Fast 9, but my manager had asked me, are you going to be fine? But she heard me exclaim, ere I drove out of sight, never bring a gun to a pickle jar fight.
Yeah, that's right. Somebody made a poem. And now somebody made a character piece. Let's check it out.